In a fiat money economy, and this is how they steal your wealth, it's just that the dollars lose value over time, but you don't realize it. That's the inflation tax. So how they benefit from that is whoever is closest to the central banks that create the money, well, they get to use that money first. And as soon as a dollar is created, or a euro or a yen, it doesn't matter, it all works the same for all of them. As soon as that's created, it has the most purchasing power value that it ever will in its lifetime. So the government gets it first, corporations get it first when it has its most value, and then it trickles through the system. So maybe the purchasing power value is here when they first create that, but by the time you get it, it's down here. So a great example to help you see that is that the average wage in 1970 was $9,500. And a family of 4 could live on that with one wage earner. Today, and it's probably a little bit higher than this because wages have gone up, but the average wage is something like $58,000. And so you would say nominal confusion, right? I would so much rather have that 58,000 than the 9,500. But today, it takes 2 wage earners making the average wage, and you are still living typically paycheck to paycheck and carrying a lot of debt. And that's why when they were issuing those stimulus checks, $2,500 stimulus checks, anybody earning under $150,000 or a couple earning under $150,000 a year got a stimulus check, right? So this is how they steal your wealth. You gotta have a plan, please. I hope you can see that we are running out of time. I don't think what's going on in the world is going to be settled so easily. I think it's really look over here, misdirection, because over here we're changing all of the rules socially, economically, and financially. You need to be in as safe a position as you possibly can be. You definitely need to have a survival plan. And I would get with, I don't know how old you are, but I would get with your parents and, talk about it, or even create one if they're not open to that. Create a way for you to get home, for you to meet somewhere so that you can come together and be more safe. But I would never discourage you from going to school. I would never discourage that. School is very important to me. So if you were my son, I would want you to stay in school. But then again, I also have a plan. This is a currency life cycle issue, and gold and silver are the currency metals. So that's really where I focus, because there's going to be plenty of time as we're going through the hyperinflation, and when we see a cup formation, which is not completely smooth, you're going to get bouncing, but you're going to see this pattern. It looks like the bottom of cup. That's the pattern that tells you that over here we're somewhere near a bottom, because the smart money has recognized what's going on. Not these big, huge spikes up or these massive drops down. That is not an accumulation pattern. That is a trading pattern. So you can hold anything that you want, but personally, as far as the metals go, as far as coins are concerned, I should say, I only hold physical gold and physical silver. I don't own any ETFs or any Wall Street products, at all. I have enough dollars to keep my business going, and a little bit of backup for my children and I, because that's your first line of defense. But no, I don't. For the function of where we are and what kind of trend we're dealing with, it's gold and silver. This is a monetary life cycle issue. I want monetary metals. So when we go into hyperinflation, the currency actually loses all purchasing power value because nobody trusts it. So when you're looking at the fiat money products, like your stocks, ETFs, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, any kind of Wall Street product that you can only convert into dollars. While not all of those entities, and we'll start with stocks, not all of them will go away. You're going to see a very, very different landscape, which could very well already be starting to unfold. I mean, I've said for a while, even though I don't have technical confirmation yet, it really feels like we're at the beginning of that hyperinflationary stage to me. And with what we're seeing in the markets, and particularly in the commodity markets right now, then yes, that is absolutely true, Dennis. You know, some will survive it. I don't know which ones yet, because a lot of that is going to depend on the debt load that they're carrying, whether they're actually zombie companies or they're viable companies, and we'll just have to see. But if you can only convert it into dollars in this country, or any country, if you can only convert it into fiat money, and that fiat money has no value, well, then what good is it, frankly? The SDR is very, very possible, and not only possible, but I do believe personally that this is going to be the world reserve currency is going to be the SDR. And unlike dollars, the IMF does not need to take on debt in order to create SDRs. That truly is the push of a button. But keep in mind as well that the SDR is composed of a number of currencies, which there's nothing that stops them from including every single currency in that basket of currencies inside the SDR. If you can hold it in an IRA, that's not the kind of gold that I want to buy. But here's the thing. Because both gold and silver are used in every aspect of the global economy, they cannot just say you can't use it at all, because that's going to have a major impact on those other areas like medicine, manufacturing. Could they stop all jewelry? It's a possibility, but not really. So I don't think that is highly likely to happen. I do personally think that an overt confiscation is likely to happen. But, you know, maybe it will and maybe it won't. That's not something that I can guarantee. But they can't say that gold is going to be worthless. They want you to think that it's worthless. But it has never, in all of its history, 6,000 years, it has never been worthless, because it has the broadest base of buyer.